to make, but I'd like to share a very fun video that was shared by one of our leadership team, Professor Marianne van der Skeren, showcasing a video of members and projects from the Institute of Civil Engineers. So take a look at this, watch it carefully, because we'll be calling on you, WITBE women. We're going to be putting together a WITBE fun video just like this. So watch this space, and we'll look forward to your ideas when you get the invite. Thanks, Phil.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Sunshine, she's here, you can take a break. I'm a hot air balloon that could go to space. With the air, like I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Here come bad news, talking this and that. Well, give me all you got, don't hold it back. Well, I should probably warn you, I'll be just fine. No offense to you, don't waste your time. Here's why. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Because I'm happy. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, bring me down, can't none bring me down. Your love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Bring me down, can't none bring me down. The love is too high, bring me down, can't none bring me down. I said, clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do. Clap along if you feel like a room without a roof. Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if you know what happiness is to you. Hey, hey. Clap along if you feel like that's what you want to do.
I challenge anyone to watch that and not smile.
Exactly. Exactly.
That's classic. Great stuff. Shells, we're up to 86.
Oh, you're on mute, Charles.
just some of the projects that were filmed on here in the UK.
Jeez. Being affected by that Hammersmith one.
Thanks, Phil. Over to you, Liz.
Amazing.
Great stuff. Shell, do you have any announcements that you want to make before we kick off today? We're going to go straight into our chat today.
Straight into it.
Great
We've got,
stuff. Lovely. Thanks so much.
Lots for Ilze to share.
Lovely. We've got 90 of our 190 registered, and I know that today is something that everybody is going to find something to relate to. So without any beating about the bush, Ilze, who is with us today, started her career in commercial litigation as a liquidation attorney. But with a higher certificate in organizational development and change and various facilitation certifications, she quickly turned her career from dismantling corporations to developing organizations. Over the last 20 years, her ongoing fascination with and study of human behavioral sciences has led her to support leaders and organizations to higher performance through various methodologies and processes, including crucial conversation skills and influencing abilities. She's also a family constellations and DeMartini method facilitator, as well as an Enneagram and life skills coach. And she's currently immersed in the study of human design and gene keys. And if our prep for this session is anything to go by, everybody is going to go home with a few tools that they can put to work immediately. So Ilze, it's going to be over to you, folks. There are going to be a few polls running, in which case respond as Ilze suggests. But in the meantime, please just pop your commentary and your questions and things into the chat, and we can use those as the kickoff at the end when we do the Q&A. Ilze, over to you.
Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you for that lovely introduction, and good afternoon, everybody. And thank you to Knowledge Mentoring Global for this special opportunity and to be part of this amazing initiative. I think it's absolutely wonderful to have so many women coming together on a platform in support of each other and encouraging each other's career growth and general growth. It's actually really a special initiative that's put together here, and I feel very honored to be part of it in a little bit today. So in preparing for this session today, I was thinking about you as an audience, and I mean, you are smart, driven women at different stages in your careers, in a very, very difficult environment. And I can imagine for you to achieve the successes and the accomplishments that you've had, it also took overcoming a couple of challenges and to make you the person you are today and bring you to where you are today. And that brought me to the second thought of, I want to bring something to the table that can be of value, that can be impactful and helpful, that you can, as Liz said, can walk away and immediately implement and enhance your life, enhance your career in some way or the other. And thinking of that, I can't imagine what it must be like to be a woman in the build environment, which is typically traditionally a harsh environment, a very male-dominated environment. And get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of the male masculine, almost call them species, but in the build environment, I can imagine that is quite challenging. And the image that came to mind is walking a tightrope on heels. So in my search to find an image to depict that picture, I came across this lovely young lady, which is a real photograph. That is actually the world record holder slackline walker, a lady by the name of Faith Dickey, that actually did this. This is her walking a slackline on heels, and get this, it's dozens of feet off the ground, but get this, in the rain. This photo was taken with her doing this in the rain. So Shal, maybe there's an idea for you, that lovely young ladies in engineering, to find a way for your happiness video to walk on a slackline in heels. Just an idea. Yes, but anyway, my thought was, if you can do that in heels, you can do anything in heels. So the topic I want to share with you today is crucial skills for a crucial moment, for crucial moments. I think that's pretty much a crucial moment, and showing how psychological safety links trust and performance in our, well, actually in our lives, not just in our work career. So let's start by looking at what is a crucial moment. In our definition, we say it's short in time, but high on impact. So that could literally be a conversation of a couple of minutes that has a massive impact, a life-changing impact. It could be a decision that is being made, an interaction with a stakeholder, with a client. The formal definition is those are times, situations, and circumstances that have a disproportionate large effect on our future results and relationships. Now, not every moment we engage in is a crucial moment. In fact, they don't come along that often. But when they do, we most likely not on our best behavior. Because what happens when we're all stressed out, and many of you would know the concept of the reptilian mind, when we're all stressed out, physiologically, adrenaline pumps through our body, which shuts down our prefrontal cortex, which is our thinking brain. And we fall back on our survival brain, which is the reptilian brain that only wants to survive. So it prepares you to fight or run for the hills. That's the only options, or freeze. And we usually neither or none of those help. And that's the moments where you look back and you go, why did I say that? Why did I do that? Could have done it better, could have said it better. I don't want to say rest assured, but it's because your reptile brain was at the steer. So there's hope we can deal with these type of situations better. These are overt situations. This is a typical crucial conversation where the stakes are high, the emotions run high. You might not be on the same page, you have differing opinions, and you know that you're in for a conflict. And you can train yourself to deal with these things better. But what I would like to talk to you about today is actually more covert moments, more subtle incidences where the interaction is challenging, but it's those what just happened moments. Those you're not quite sure if you are interpreting this correctly now. And it's those subtle moments that, you know, if we talk about the unconscious bias or bias in the workplace, which is still pretty rampant out there, those incidents are not clear enough, strong enough to actually go to HR and lay a complaint and have it dealt with through the formal processes and policies. It's too subtle, but it does impact your well-being. It does impact your work environment and your own your own aptitude and like I said, well-being, coming to work. So those are things like, if we talk about women in the workplace and the potential gender bias, it's things like, as a woman, you need to provide more evidence of competence than others, or having your judgment being questioned in your area of expertise. Now, it's interesting, just last week I had a conversation with a client that a very, very competent and accomplished woman, CFO of a large organization, who actually stepped down and retired out of that, or left that organization. And what she shared is that she was so frustrated in ExCo meetings where she would put forward, because they were going through a merger, and she would put forward strategies, suggestions, and that would always be, no, we first have to check it with a particular male colleague. And then 3 weeks later would come back and that exact decision would be implemented and he would get the credit. And it just became too much. And this was last week, as recent as that. So she left the organization to join another organization. And things like being interrupted when trying to put your view across, or being regarded as bossy or aggressive, or being mistaken for someone in a more junior position. So, as I said, I need to put the disclaimer out that I'm not a feminist and I'm not on a war path against men. And in preparing for this, I was thinking, have I ever experienced any of these? And I was actually shocked. It was a bit of a light bulb moment for me when I realized, oh my word, when I was a lawyer, I quickly, in my mid-20s, I quickly realized that I'm up against what I, in my perception, viewed as an old boys club. And all of these were happening. All of these I experienced. And talk about a crucial moment. When I contemplated, when I reflected on this, I realized that was a crucial moment for me. I was sitting in a meeting, staring out the window where one or two of these things had just happened. And I looked around and I thought to myself, all the women in this particular field of law have to work double as hard for half the credit, put up with these type of things. And that's when I decided to make a complete career change. So we can't say these are, talk about a crucial moment. So I would like to hear from you, if I can ask Louise, if she can pull up the poll. If you look at these examples, which of these, and you can select more than one, select everyone that you have experienced, that you've personally experienced. So Louise, let's see, can we launch the poll?
Okay, I've launched. Should I submit it now?
Yes, submit.
Okay, then.
Let's see, you should get pop-up with the poll on your screen. Just let me know if you see that.
I see that, and then I've pressed submit. Then it says you didn't select any options.
Ah, okay.
So that's so I must I share my screen?
No, I think it should be on everybody's screen. I've got it on my screen, and I can enter
okay,
and
can
submit.
they see it?
So everybody should be able to enter and submit.
Okay, so Liz, you, Louise, you just now you can select your selection and submit. So everybody, you select your and then Liz, you just need to share live so that we can see the results. There's a button that gives you the option to share not Liz, Louise, sorry.
Louise, yeah, Louise.
Louise, if you
all right.
That drop down.
Yes,
Ilze, you should be
I've
able
seen
to.
back 2 questions. I've seen that, and then it says close poll response details. So, but on the questions, I can see it.
Sharing. Yeah,
it is live sharing. If you look at the right, if you look in the chat, you can see the stats on the right in the chat.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can see it.
Okay,
so at the moment it's
Ilze,
running.
do you need some guidance on the poll?
Yes, please, Kelly, if you wouldn't mind, or Liz, what I think
Yeah,
I can't see the results. So maybe
22% is showing up as having your judgment questioned. That's the highest one at the moment. Being interrupted is 21. Being mistaken for somebody more junior is also 22%. Being interrupted, 22%. Having your judgment questioned, 22%. Needing to provide more evidence of competence, 17%. Being regarded as bossy or aggressive, 15%. So 3 and 5 are the highest.
Okay, those are coming up the most. 3 and 5. The 3 being interrupted when trying to put your view across, or 5 being mistaken for someone in a more junior position. Those are the
I'm not
ones
quite
that
sure why I'm on your screen, but
oops, I was looking at the poll because I'm sharing my screen. Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Louise, Liz, and Kelly. Kelly is one of my colleagues. Thank you for helping with that poll. We're running fresh on a new Teams poll app. But I think we can close the poll now. Louise, I don't know if there's as everybody selected, what was the selection? Can you see how many people responded?
59.
59. Okay.
59.
So from 59 people, it seems like, what did you say? Number 3 and 5.
Being interrupted and being mistaken for somebody more junior.
Okay. But every single one of these 5 were in the mix there by the sounds of it. So it's rampant and real. We are experiencing these things. And as I said, these are called everyday bias or microaggressions, those subtleties. And just to put some stats, recent and real stats out, and some research on this, the Lean In Org in collaboration with McKinsey's run this Women in Workplace survey, annual survey. And in 2023, they debunked the myth that microaggressions don't matter and is not impactful. They actually showed that it has a large and lasting impact on women. So Lean In is an organization founded by Sheryl Sandberg, the COO of Facebook, and they're very active in the workplace, helping women to grow themselves and their careers. And they have been running this survey since 2015 in collaboration with McKinsey. So for 9 years, it is US based. So they survey 900 organizations employing 23 million people. So it's quite rich data that they get from this, focused on women in the workplace. And just to run through some of their recent results. One is that they have categorically shown a clear positive correlation between gender diversity in leadership and financial performance. But despite that, women are only represented 1 in 4 C-suite leaders still. Now, if we focus on the microaggression specifically, they found in their survey that women are twice more likely to be interrupted. We just saw, that was our winning poll example, and to hear comments about their emotional state. Now, again, it sounds so simple and small, but the impact that it has is that women don't feel psychologically safe. And then they start to self-shield. And with self-shielding, they do things like just stop contributing, mute their own voices, or they code switch, like changing language or whatever the approach is that's predominant in the room, or they hide important aspects of themselves. In essence, what the organizations are losing out on is the full potential contribution and presence of these individuals. And the knock-on effect on the women are even more harsh. Here, women have shown, or the research have shown, that women are 4 times more likely to always feel burned out, and 3 times more likely to actually think about leaving their organizations because of these microaggressions. So as I said, it's very real. And if we go to some other research, I'm with the Human Edge, and we represent a global organization called Crucial Learning, previously known as Vital Smarts. And they do ongoing human behavioral science research for more than 38 years now already. And in such a research project for Harvard Business Review, for a Harvard Business Review article, they asked people who felt they had experienced bias at work to describe the incident in detail. And within weeks, they received 498 rich and heartbreaking stories. And what they deducted from those stories is that, first, the bias is permanent. 49% of people experiencing that said it's part of the workplace, it happens regularly, it's routinely occurring. 66% said it's pervasive, so it's in every aspect. It infiltrates the whole work environment, their morale, their engagement, their motivation, their commitment, their desire to advance in the organizations. It's everywhere. And the sad part is 60% said it's uncontrollable. They felt helpless. They don't know how to address these incidents of bias and to address it in a way that it doesn't occur in the future. And that's what I would like to talk to you about this afternoon. How can you, if you're experiencing these type of incidents, these subtleties, how can you effectively address them so that they don't keep on occurring? And one of the keys is to do it as quickly as possible when it happens. As soon as you experience something like that, to address it. The challenge is that we don't have the skills, that we don't feel comfortable how to do it. So on the how to do it, let's have a look at what can we do. I want to play you a little video clip from the Crucial Learning authors and founders, and they demonstrate this research on the unconscious bias that we are talking about. So I just want to give you a pre-warning that the video might lag a little bit depending on your internet connection. Just listen and see if you can follow the conversation. And then, Liz, would you just give me an indication once we get it up if the sound is playing? Can you hear the sound?
Yes, that's fine.
What if your boss and your colleagues discriminated against you and didn't even know they were doing it?
For example, let's watch a woman manager, speak up in a way that's forceful and assertive.
I'm not on board with the direction this decision is going. We're chasing a market that doesn't exist. It's as if we're completely ignoring the data.
I wouldn't say ignoring the data.
We need to make significant changes to the existing plan or do additional testing until we find more.
We showed videos like this to more than 11,000 subjects. Many observers judged this forceful woman as incompetent and a poor leader. But when a man did the same...
I'm not on board with the direction this decision is going. We're chasing a market that doesn't exist. It's as if we're completely...
This man wasn't judged as harshly as the woman.
It's true. Past studies have shown that both men and women judge women more harshly for expressing the same degree of passion.
This is the hardest kind of sexism to address because it's not overt, it's covert. Few of us are aware that we hold this double standard.
What can we do about it? What can a woman do when she's suffering from an unfair judgment that even the judges don't know they're making?
Here's some BS you can use.
We wondered if simply adding a few words prior to the forceful statement would reduce the bias.
Yes, something like this.
I see this as a matter of honesty and integrity, so it's important for me to be clear about where I stand. I'm not on board with the direction this decision is going.
Our hypothesis was that a brief statement explaining why you're about to pound the table would change people's judgment of you pounding the table.
The results were dramatic. When the woman explained her intent before going to content, it dramatically improved the way respondents perceived her.
Yes, but listen to this. It doesn't just work for women, it works for dudes too. Our experiment showed that adding a frame up front that explains your actions dramatically decreases negative judgments.
I see this as a matter of honesty and integrity, so it's important for me to be clear about where I stand.
So the unfortunate truth is that women are judged more harshly than men when they're forceful.
The other truth is that regardless of gender, everyone is judged harshly when they speak in a forceful tone.
The big idea is that we can all benefit from explaining our intent before diving into our content.
So, next time you've got something tough to say, Don't hold your tongue.
And don't sugarcoat your feelings.
Instead, explain your intent so your audience will understand why you're being so forceful.
I'm David Maxfield.
And I'm Joseph Grenning.
And that's all the BS for today. Subscribe to our channel.
Okay, so there's a big tip in that we will get to by explaining your intent before you go to content. And as we see, the bias is real. So I would like to know from your side, what is your reality? So we're going to do a second poll. I think from learning from the previous one, Louise, if you launch the poll, Liz, if you could just indicate if you see it on the screen. And then the questions asked, what I want to ask everybody is to choose the one thing. So there are 8 examples. I'll give you a minute to read through it. But select the most challenging and risky issue to raise and address at work. The thing that you feel you would like to address, but it's the most risky and challenging to speak about. So Louise, can we launch the poll? And Liz, can you tell me when it's up?
And running? It's up and running already.
Okay, great. And
okay,
then
go
Liz,
for it, people. 4. I'm going to wait until we've got about 10 responses there.
Okay.
5, 7, 8, 10. Let's keep going. 13, 16. Lovely. It's all racking in now. 22, 24. Do we have a winner? So they're all ranking. Okay, making childcare arrangements is a clear front runner at the moment. It's holding its place. 33 responses, and the personal arrangements advocating for equality in payment is chasing up. Making childcare or asking for unplanned time is still leading.
Okay.
44 responses. Holding a performance-related discussion is up at 26 now, 26%.
Okay, how many respondents have we got? Should we leave it open for another couple of seconds?
52.
Right, so
52 at the moment.
Let's leave it open for half a minute more.
Okay.
Give everybody that's contemplating it a good chance to make their decision.
55. Come on, anybody else who's got a view here? We slowed right down. Okay, so your front runner, your top one, is holding a performance-related discussion. Your second one is negotiating greater responsibility.
Okay.
And your third one is making childcare arrangements or unplanned time off. No, I lie. Advocating for equality in payment and promotions is your third one.
Interesting. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Those ones are the ones that keep popping up. We ran this poll, I think, before COVID, and it was also equality in payment and performance-related discussions that pop up most for women. And interestingly enough, the research has actually shown that men do not have that challenge to ask for a raise or to talk about performance discussions. It's some inhibition within us as women. So that brings me to the next question and the last poll that we will run. So guys, I'm tapping you for input here. The question is, what makes it difficult for you to speak up? Why is it that you feel challenged to raise those topics? And here are 7 options. Again, take a moment, Louise, launch the poll. Liz, let me know when it's up.
It's up.
Okay.
Starting to show. Hold on, people can't choose their answers yet. Now they can choose their answers. Go for it.
And again, the number one reason why you feel unsafe to speak about it. How many participants have we got?
15 so far, 18, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 34, 37, 38, 40, 42.
What's the front runner?
Racking up. The front runner, I fear how I'll be perceived following the conversation by a country mile. Okay,
Sure.
and the next one, I fear it'll put the relationship at risk. So I fear how I'll be perceived afterwards is 25%. And I fear it'll put the relationship at risk is 20%.
Sure.
They're real front runners.
Absolutely.
The next closest is 15%, and that's I haven't succeeded doing this in the past.
Perfect. How many respondents have we got?
We've got total 59,
Okay.
and 28% said I fear how I'll be perceived, and 21% said I fear it'll put the relationship at risk.
Fascinating. Once again, when we've run this in the past, those are the ones that pop up. I think there's definitely some research that can be done about us as women being, I would imagine, we are the tribal people, the communal, community-driven, focused people that we worry about how we would be perceived and putting the relationship at risk. They're always the ones that shoot out. And then, of course, a very real reality is that if you've tried it before and crashed and burned, it makes it so much more difficult to try again and approach it. So, ladies, thank you so much for your responses and your input. It's nice to get some insights from your side and see that we're talking about a very real topic here. So I'm going to play another little video and then dive into some tips and things for you that can maybe help you when you're faced with these microaggressions and subtleties. But let's see.
What about 10 minutes left?
Okay, perfect. Let's see what we can do when we're faced with a typical unconscious bias situation.
This AI tool will take your
it's just a
idea
bit of
and
a
create a
ad,
complete
it's on
book,
YouTube.
complete with design, images, layout.
But there we go.
When someone says something offensive, the best way to address it is the opposite of our instinct. For example, let's say you're not of the majority ethnic group in your company. On 2 previous occasions, a colleague has pointed to you in a meeting and said, "How do your people feel about that?" The first time she said it, you were surprised. The second time, you were filled with loathing and disgust, and it just happened for the 3rd time. And that's where you're at risk. What you're most conscious of in that moment are your emotions and judgments about the remark. And that's the worst place to start. Leading with, "That's a racist thing to say, stop it," might get your point across, but it's more likely to provoke resentment than reflection. Instead, after the meeting, ask your colleague for a private moment, then use 3 skills. First, give the benefit of the doubt about intent. Start with, "Hey Gwen, I'm guessing you don't realize how something you're doing might affect me and others." Second, share the facts, not your judgments. Simply repeat back what the person said in an unemotional tone of voice. On 3 occasions, you've said, "How do your people feel about that?" Third, share the effect. For example, "You probably don't realize it, but when you say that, I feel disrespected, like I'm not seen as an individual, but rather as a representative of an ethnic group." This approach is much more likely to invite self-awareness and influence change. Thanks for watching. Visit.
There we go. So these are online. You can look, find these little videos, and it's very helpful. It's such subtle differences in how we say something, but it can make such a big difference. Again, a crucial moment. So let's dive into some tips to leave you with this afternoon. So how can you make it safe? We've got a saying that we say, anytime you find yourself stuck, there's likely a crucial conversation you're either not holding or not holding well. So the first tip is to get unstuck. Think about where you are in your life, where you feel stuck, where you're not getting the results that you want. And then unbundle it with CPR. What does that mean? It is to help you have the right conversation. Often we are having the wrong conversation, and whenever you have to address the same thing over and over and over again, it's because you're not having the right conversation. You're not talking about the right thing. What is the root problem? CPR stands for content, pattern, or relationship. When it's a pattern conversation to have, let's dive into that. It's an event that's happened once off. Maybe the report was submitted late. And the crucial conversation is about the action or the immediate consequence. And that then you can address the content if it's the first time. And it's usually a much easier conversation. And that's why we often let it slide. But then it happens again and again. Then it becomes a pattern. Then the conversation is not about the report that is late. Then the conversation needs to be about the fact that it's been submitted late for the second or third time. Now it's a pattern. But if it continues like that, at that point, if it keeps happening, you might start feeling resentment towards this person, or like you can't trust them, or that they're not competent. When that starts happening, this is not about the pattern anymore. Now it's about the relationship. And it doesn't help to talk about the report that is late, because that will just unearth a whole bunch of excuses, and you will go down and spiral about that, where you actually need to talk about the fact that I don't feel like I can trust you anymore because you have been submitting this report late ongoingly. The second tip is, as I said, when you build up that resentment and all the stuff in our head about this person, we need to get our heart clear before we can have that conversation. Because we are sensory beings as human beings. We can sense when somebody is not sincere or when they have an ulterior motive. And if you are in a position where it's built up to such an extent that you just want to annihilate this person or get them out of your life, and now you try and have that conversation, it's not going to go down well. Or if you've bottled it up so badly, what we say is, if you don't talk it out, you act it out. So now you've bottled it up so badly, and then you try and have that conversation without clearing your heart, it's not going to come across sincerely, and it's not going to go well. So how do you clear your heart? Here are 4 questions that you can ask yourself to help do that. And that is, what do I really, really, really want for myself, for the other person, for the relationship, and for the organization in this situation? Just take some time to sit down, contemplate this, and make sure that that's how you can, washing machine, rinse, spin, repeat until you've cleared your heart, and then go into the conversation. The third tip is get your head clear. Now, what often happens is we build stories up in our mind, and we take those stories as facts. So now the report has been submitted late 3 times, and now we're already convinced that this person is lazy, they're not committed, they don't care about us or our work, they don't care about the impact it has, and that story we make a fact. And in our training, we see that people most often struggle with separating stories from facts. And what we often do is that we cast ourselves as the victim and the other person as the villain, and we feel very helpless in those situations. So to clear your head and to get yourself, a trick to get yourself out of that is to ask these 3 questions. From the victim story, contemplate and reflect, what is my role in this situation? How have I contributed to this? From a villain perspective, look at the person and ask yourself, why would a reasonable, rational, and decent person do this? And if you hear yourself say, but they're not reasonable, rational, go back to clearing your heart and then clear the head again. And if it's a helpless story, then what could I do right now to move me toward what I really want? And even if it's just to say, make the choice to have a crucial conversation. Let me prepare and see if I can prepare for such a conversation. You're moving towards a better option for yourself. The 4th tip is, as the video indicated, safety is about intent, not content. We as human beings are very resilient. We can take bad news. We can take hard content. What puts us on our back feet, what makes us defensive, is, why are you saying what you're saying? What is your intent that's sitting behind it? And 2 things to help you build or position your intent is mutual purpose, show that I care about your goals, and mutual respect, that I care about you as a person. So when you feel safety is out of the conversation, you can't continue with that conversation. You have to step out and rebuild safety. And focusing on mutual purpose and mutual respect is a way to do that. What mutual purpose brings to the table is, first of all, that's the purpose of having dialogue. if you don't have a reason to talk, there is no discussion. And if there isn't mutual purpose, people withhold meaning. And the most important thing, it's the foundation for trust. And on the respect side, respect is like air. You don't really notice it until it's not there, and then it's the only thing you notice. So those two things help you with creating safety and clearing and putting your intent on the table. And Liz, I know we're almost out of time. There's one tip left that I want to share with you, and it ties it back to the video. And that is that hazardous half minute. The 30 seconds, first 30 seconds when you open your mouth is critical in these crucial conversation situations. And that's where your intent needs to come across. And by framing it correctly, you can present a context for why you're doing or saying something that can help to influence the judgments and emotions coming your way so that you can speak up. So I'm going to close off by looping back to that little video that I played and demonstrate how that woman could frame her behavior and her values to position intent. So you can do it by two ways, behavior and values. So here's
I'm going to express my opinion very directly. I'll be as specific as possible. I'm not on board with the direction this decision is going. We're chasing a market that doesn't exist.
That's framing your behavior, and here she frames, so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to frame why I'm doing it.
I see this as a matter of honesty and integrity, so it's important for me to be clear about where I stand. I'm not on board with the direction this decision is going. We're chasing.
So those are 5 tips that I hope you can take on board and help you in these microaggressions, unconscious bias, crucial conversation moments. What I would like to leave you with is it's not a hopeless situation. If you've ever encountered anything like that, you're not alone and you're not helpless. There are skills available. There are skills out there. Yes, they're counterintuitive. It's something we have to develop. It's something we have to learn, but it is there. And go out there, research, read, upskill yourself. And secondly, you are part of this amazing community of women where you draw on each other, you can support each other, learn from colleagues who've gone through that, learn from each other and support each other in speaking up and in building the skills to do so. It's not helpless. There are ways to speak up as beautiful feminine women in a non-judgmental, non-disrespectful or respectful and inclusive way. And so I'll leave you with that quote from Sheryl Sandberg saying, in the future, there will be no female leaders. There will just be leaders. And that's it. Thank you, Liz.
Like, live in hope. We live in hope. Thank you, Ilse.
What was that?
I love having I said we live in hope that we will have just leaders, not female leaders. I've been reading a lot about the mass exodus of women before they get to the C-suite because they just burn out and they reach their level of capacity for taking this kind of stuff in the workplace. We've got a comment. People going to apply the tips. Mabali says the skills are critical. I face this kind of bias on a daily basis in my area of work, and I've learned a lot. A question: how do you deal with a person like a site foreman or other site contractor that is disrespectful and resorts to shouting and swearing? Someone who's a real hothead.
Sure.
So you're getting their explosions.
Yes. And it's a common question that we often get because it feels like, you know, does the other person need to have these skills in order to bring psychological safety? That's in essence what you're asking, you walking into a non-psychological safe space. And the good news is you can bring that safety with that skill, because underneath it all, we are all human. So that's where those first 2 tips come in. When you've experienced abuse and harsh situations like this, it's very difficult to step back and not judge that person. But that would be the first step, to find the respect for that person, even if it's just to respect them as a human breathing being. to start off with. You have to have that clear your heart, clear your head first done. And then when you step into the conversation, to, you know, stay calm. That is the main thing. When you get hot-headed, in you out of safety, so for both of you.
Yeah, so really hard to do that in the moment.
Absolutely.
Where you are receiving this torrent of abuse. But if I had to look at, you know, your mutual purpose, mutual respect, that might be, I can hear how passionately you feel about this project, or I can hear how invested you are in this situation, or I can hear how frustrating this is for you.
Absolutely, because then you're acknowledging the mutual purpose and you're acknowledging the mutual respect. You know, you can top that up with saying that my intent is, oh, I want to be working with you on this project. I want this project to succeed just as much as you do. You know, that's highlighting your intention in a mutual purpose way. Well, I respect your view on this project, and I would like to have us work together in a respectful manner. I hope that helps.
Hilna's commented, yeah, no, it absolutely does. Hilna comments, always evaluate at whom the hot-headed expression is addressed. Most probably it's the site or situation, not you. Exactly. But when you're on the receiving end of that torrent of abuse, it's really hard to handle that in the moment, isn't it? Yeah.
Absolutely. True. But Shelley will echo this from the mentorship training, that we have that split second before our reaction kicks in, that we can override if we train ourselves to have our prefrontal cortex stop us and say, let's just think about this for a moment, exactly like you say, Liz. This is not directed to me. Do not take it personally. That helps you to step out of that. Yeah.
Okay, I just want to comment. We really want to encourage everybody to take this conversation into the app, start talking about what has your experience been of this, and how might you apply the kind of tools that you've picked up from Ilze today in handling it differently, or how have other people used similar approaches and differently did they work? So to answer Natasia question, the app is no longer in the app stores. It's not an app anymore. It has to be downloaded from a link, which you can pick up. Phil or Shelley will need to send you that, I think. Shelley, is that right?
You need to register.
It has to be downloaded.
So that
you have to register first. Yeah. Okay. Right.
Registration
great. So register, and then you'll be sent a link. I interrupted you, Shell. Go for it.
Yeah, that's really important. We've put the QR code in the chat. That's where you fill in your details, which professional body you're with. So we vet and make sure it remains a safe and secure space. Once you're registered, you will get an invitation, a welcome letter via email from Louise, and you will get the link to download the app, where you'll get a one-time password, and then you will be in. So the security and safety of the conversations are guaranteed. That's why it's not something that is just downloaded off the App Store.
Yeah. Great, thanks. Lots of thanks in there. Sorry, somebody wanted to comment. Can we get everybody's cameras on so we can just do our little picture like we normally do towards the tail end? If you can all start switching your cameras on. If anyone else has a question they want to ask about applying these techniques or how to respond in these situations. I think what was interesting is Ilze gave us, in the videos, you've got somebody who is being assertive in a situation where she runs the risk of alienating others or being judged. And in the example that Ilze gave, it was an example of where somebody's letting you down and not giving you what you need. So it kind of works in both directions. It's not just, you know, when you're the recipient of, or when you're it works when you're the initiator as well. I'm not sure if somebody's wanting to ask a question or if that's just background noise.
Are you ready?
No? Okay.
That sounds like background noise. Super, thanks
background
everyone.
Noise. Okay, great stuff. Awesome. Thanks everybody. Won't you just whack cameras on? That would be really helpful. Thanks, that we could just get a pic of the session. We've ended up with 96 in here, so quite a nice big crowd. Ilze, thank you so much for sharing, and please guys carry the conversation on in the app. Yes.
In the chat is hello, where is the QR code? If you just scroll up, Philip shared this QR code right at the beginning of the meeting, or just pop us your email and we will send it back to you.
Send it to you. Yeah, right up the top.
Scroll right up to the top.
At 1418, you'll find the QR code.
The QR code. So we'll stay open so that you can capture that and you can share it. So if not, if you miss it, please email me or get in touch with Louise. Ilze, thank you very much. That was great tips.
I'm glad. Thank you for having me.
Never stop learning.
Perfect. And thank you for all the questions and the engagement, even with a bit of the glitching on the beginning with the poll, but loved being here. And I really hope that you can take these tips into your work environment and see some positive changes. Thank you, Liz, for being such a great support.
Thanks so much.
Guys.
Thanks.
See you all.
Thanks.
Bye.
Hello. Hello. Hello.